This is All 32 Picks and IPAs, your NFL and craft beer fancast, with your hosts Adam Emmert, Brendan Schultz, and Gerrad Tim. Play along at picksandIPAs.com/join. Hooray football! Hooray beer!
Welcome to All 32 Picks and IPAs. I am Adam Emmert. Joining me today is the winner from last week, Mr. Brandon Schultz, with 140 points.
140 points. You guys didn't even make the bonus. Suck it.
Yeah, no, didn't get the bonus.
Wow.
I am indeed sucking it in second place with 90 points. And coming in third, sucking the hardest as usual, none other than Gerrad Tim.
Adam, when you pointed at the winner, I can see you on your screen, and you pointed right at me. And for a split second, I got excited like I was the winner. I was like, oh, shit.
Nope, still the loser. Brandon was the winner. I think I'm still the winner overall between the three of us, so that feels good. I should just point it right back at me. Because you know what, Jerry? When you point a finger at somebody, there's just three more pointing right back at yourself. And that's what it was.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got it. Yep.
Yeah, that's a terrible dad joke.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. You come to this podcast for dad jokes. Don't lie, people.
Well, you do have three dads.
Yeah, he hasn't been here for a while. So
although Gerrad not officially in dad territory yet. I don't know when the actual dad title comes along.
At some point in February.
It's coming, though.
Yeah, I
think end of February.
I think when it poops its first diaper, that's when you're officially a dad, because you are literally cleaning up after somebody else's shit for like 3 years.
3. I thought that cleaning up after somebody's shit lasted all of 18 to 20 years.
It's true.
It kind of does. It just turns into different shit. That's for sure. Kind of like Gerrad's picks us last week. That last week.
Oh, man. I missed just me and Brandon doing the show.
Hey, I'm glad to be back because somebody needed to keep you in your place. Brandon, how did you pick the game so correctly last week? And how's that going to apply to this week where nobody knows who's even playing in the game?
I think part of the reason was I had to take over hosting duties, and so I didn't have your crappy thoughts just burying me throughout the show, and I could think clearly and make the right picks. So it worked for me. Maybe if you could just sit out every week, I would probably be winning because all I'd have to for one, it would just be me and Gerrad, and that would be easy.
Right. Yeah. So basically, I've just heard in the last 3 minutes that neither of you are happy I'm back. Well, cool. Let's get to the picks, assholes.
And we're drinking the Kress Bayrisch Zwickel this week from our tour across Germany, our advent calendar. We're still hanging on to it, even though it's past Christmas Day.
Yes.
I noticed that Adam is not yet drinking this beer.
It's right here.
Yeah, it's not cracked.
Crack it.
There it is.
There it is. All right. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that beer, and I will deliver to you the winning picks for this week. So let's get into the picks, fellas.
Let's lock them in.
It's time to lock in this week's picks.
First up on the docket, AFC East showdown. The brothers Ryan gone from Buffalo, taking on the New York Football Jets, who apparently are going to hold on to everybody for no apparent reason. Brandon, who you got?
Elevating your running backs coach all the way up to head coach, and it sounds like from the subtext that I hear from the players, it sounds like he's kind of a jerk. So it can go one or two. It always seems to. It's hard to pick these games when they fire their coaches. Dang it! I'm going Bills, even though I guess Fitzpatrick is back. The Jets could be a good pick on this game. Looking at user consensus, 87% though. I think the Jets have just given up. That defense clearly given up over 40 points to the Patriots last week, only able to put 3 points up on the board. I think that's what has me leaning Buffalo on this.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo too. I mean, no Rex Ryan doesn't really matter because Fitz sucks, man. He's horrible. This is the reason I'm not picking the Jets.
It's better than
Adam.
Bryce Petty, though.
No, Bryce Petty out.
I know.
Bryce Petty out. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm going with the Jets. This is my risk pick right out of the gate. Basically, this is a anti-EJ Manuel pick because EJ Manuel is going to be starting for the Bills, not T-Mobile, because the Bills are trying to screw him over in just another Billsian way. Look, I don't know why the organization there is heightest when it comes to their quarterbacks, but they hate short quarterbacks. And if you don't look like Rob Johnson, they'll stab you right in the back every time. And that's what they're doing to T-Mobile here. I think karma comes back to bite him, and the beard goes out in his last game as a Jet on top.
I think it's his last
a lot
NFL
of animosity
game
from the Flutie days, don't you?
Yeah, he does.
That was wrong, man. The Flutie curse is alive, man. That's why the Bills haven't made the playoffs.
I know it was wrong, but let's move on. It's time.
They haven't made amends yet.
Can't do it.
They haven't made amends yet. Look at the way they're treating their new.
Are they
their new short
playing EJ Manuel for trade bait? Maybe.
What are you going to give for EJ Manuel? I wouldn't even give him my dirty underwear for EJ Manuel.
A seventh rounder?
No,
he's worth a seventh rounder.
No, you pick him off waivers, man. You don't give up a pick for him.
Yeah, not for a backup quarterback.
I don't understand. I'm just trying to come up with ideas.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, another team that's been trying to come up with ideas, the Cleveland Browns. They actually won one while I was away. That was fun. I'm mad that I didn't guess which game it was that they were going to win, but they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at home.
Oh, see, Gerrad and I thought for sure you were going to be picking the Browns last week, just for one last go to see if you could pick that win. And you're telling me you got that one wrong, Adam. I'm disappointed in you.
I did. I got the Browns wrong almost every single week this year.
We really did talk about how you were going to pick them. We were sold on it. You let us down.
Nope, I went the other way, and I'm not picking them in this game either, guys. I'm taking the Steelers, even if they are resting everybody, including Coach Tomlin. So that's who I'm taking.
Yeah, I think we all got the Steelers on this one. 97% user consensus. Even though they got the one win over San Diego, people aren't jumping on board the hype train for the Browns just yet.
No. Yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh too. Everybody gets one over San Diego.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly right. Just make it a close game. They'll give it to you. Like you know how that's gonna go. All right, guys. NFC South, the division nobody wanted to care about this year. The 6-9 Carolina Panthers take on the 8-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, both officially eliminated from the playoffs. Well, I mean, I guess the Panthers were a long time ago. Gerrad, who you got?
Well, since we're in risk pick territory, Adam, you wanted the Jets. I gave that to you. I had first pick of the risk picks. I believe Cam Newton is going to beat Jameis Winston. This is a divisional matchup last week of the season, kind of a bragging rights within the division. These games still mean something to somebody, maybe not us or the rest of the NFL, but to these two teams, it means something. I'm going with Cam Newton on the road. I think Jameis Winston's going to throw 3 interceptions for no reason to a shitty secondary.
Well, you talk about guys who have just shut it down. Cam Newton's one of those guys. He doesn't care now that he's 6-9. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be back quarterback in this team next year. I think this is a good game for Jameis Winston to show that he can take down Cam Newton and do it at home and finish with a regular season, a winning record, not just 8-8, a winning record for the Bucs. They have something to play for in this one. That's why I'm going with 80% of user consensus. Going with Tampa Bay, 20% going with the Panthers.
Holy smokes! I'm stunned that it's that much that this is a risk.
Even Vegas has
Gerrad. I can't argue with you with your Panthers logic.
Even Vegas has this as a 5-point favorite for the Bucs.
No effing way. This is a close game in my mind, but hey, I mean, what do I know? I'm only leading everybody in points. Look, I think that the Bucs. I think that the Bucs.
Welcome back, asshole.
I think that the Bucs are probably have more to play for, much like you said, Brandon. I mean, the idea to try to rise above just a 500 record, I think is something. I think Jameis Winston having something to play for makes a difference. I don't have a lot to say about this game. I'm just taking the Bucs mainly because they're at home.
They are losing one of their main players to a treatment facility.
Yeah, is that Doug Martin?
Yeah. He went into treatment. They announced this week.
That was the personal issue then.
It was, but it was. I guess he tested positive
for PEDs and his suspension starts.
But the PEDs he said was Adderall, and so why you need to go in for treatment for? You don't see guys going to treatment for that.
He's very focused on his recovery, Brandon.
I think Richard Sherman needs to reach out to him.
Why, is he an expert on these sort of things, Gerrad?
You know he is. Got him through Stanford, guy. Right?
He's just smart. He's just smart.
No, he's
now
not.
you're gonna label him. You're gonna label him as a drug abuser, which was never proven. I mean, how dare you? How dare you,
Gerrad?
Labeled.
So yeah, Doug Martin in rehab. Good luck. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It does sound weird. It's like going to rehab for weed or something. You know, like because you're so addicted to weed.
Yeah,
it seems a little weird. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. There might be something else going on there. That's all I'm saying.
There should be.
All right, guys. Next up is the battle of backup quarterbacks. You got to be excited. Got to be. Because it is the Savage and the Houston Texans taking on whoever the backup quarterback is for the Titans. I honestly don't even know. Brandon, who you got?
I was just going to ask you the same thing. I have no idea who's quarterbacking in this game. Now that Mariota went down,
Zach Mettenberger.
Zach Mettenberger used to be the guy. Yeah. I'm going to go with whoever the Titans backup quarterback is, because I do not, even though the Texans are in the playoffs, and maybe that's part of it. They got it locked up. They could rest a guy. I don't know why they would. Who are they going to rest? Who would they be worried about resting? Because J.J. Watt obviously isn't playing because he's still on IR. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins sits out and waits for the playoffs. I don't know. Lamar Miller obviously needs some rest. He's been looking pretty rough these last couple of games. So I'm going to go with Tennessee on this one. And surprisingly, not a lot of people liking the home team. Only 32% going with Tennessee, 68% with the Texans.
Well, here's the starting quarterback for the Titans. It is Matt Castle.
Hey!
All right.
That's maybe about as equal as Zach Mettenberger.
Hit your start of that.
You know, I actually watched Matt Castle. I should have known this because I watched some of his plays from last week. He threw a pick six.
No way.
I was stunned. Matt Castle threw a pick six.
Yeah. That's it. See, that's how you know he's just so bad, is that you even watched him play and he was that forgettable.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going with Matt Castle. I believe in him over Tom Savage. And I don't think Houston's really going to be playing for much.
What I need Tom Savage to do is grow like a really solid mustache. A guy with a name like Tom Savage, he needs to have like a superb, like Selleck kind of mustache.
Or mutton chops.
I think
chops might be good too.
Yeah, that's true. You're right on the chops. I think I could go with that as well. He needs to do something like that, and I think it would enhance their playoff abilities. I think a playoff stash, playoff chops, something like that. I have a feeling he'll go clean shaven this week, but I still think he gets the job done going with the Texans.
So let's say Savage sucks again like he's going to. Who do you play in the playoffs if you're Houston? Brock or Savage?
Osweiler, dude.
I don't know. Osweiler.
They both suck.
I think Savage is going to be the quarterback for here on out this season. That's who you're going to the playoffs. That's the guy who got you into the playoffs.
Okay, well, that's cool. We'll just go light some money on fire instead of coach the quarterback that is potentially good. That's on. They're going to
be one and done anyway.
He's not potentially good.
Yes, he is good.
He's terrified to throw downfield. No, he's terrified to throw the football anywhere beyond 10 yards. He can't take any more hits. He just wants to get rid of the ball as soon as possible so he doesn't get hit. It's not going to work out for him. It's just not.
Throwing dirt from the angry Broncos fan who's spurned.
Throwing dirt on the grave. I mean, we have. Even when he had time last year with the Broncos, he still never threw it downfield. Ever.
His feet didn't look like this, man.
I have to agree with Gerrad. I don't think Osweiler's coming back from this.
No.
Wow. Way to give up on him and Tannen, guys. Couple of pussies. Yeah.
Just keeping it real.
Just be realistic. Man. He doesn't have it.
Well, they need to get rid of that coach. That's the problem in Houston.
Well, they need to get rid of the GM too. So,
well, whatever. We can throw dirt on this game. I'm done talking about the AFC South. Chicago Bears go on the road 3-12. Matt Barkley actually looking okay in his appearances. I don't know if he's your guy of the future, but something to think about, Bears fans. Taking on the Minnesota Vikings, Brandon. I mean, we can safely say that the Bradford experiment is completely over in Minnesota, right? Like they can't continue with him next year, even if Bridgewater is slow coming back from injury.
I think that, who are they going to go with if Bridgewater's slow to come back from injury? I think they're stuck with
not Bradford.
I think that's your best option right now until Bridgewater comes back.
Ugh.
I know you don't like it.
I don't know. You know what?
He won you games, and he was making some solid drives against that Packers defense early on in this last game. It was just that they couldn't convert inside the red zone. They'd get down in the red zone. They'd have to kick a field goal, and they got behind early because of it. They were going, toe to toe initially. And to me, I think that's why they have enough to get by the Bears team and finally get back on the winning side and finish off the season at 8-8. 92% of users agree with me. Only 8% going with the Bears. Going Minnesota.
Boy, oh boy. Adam, I'm with you. I think the Bradford thing is over. I think what's going to happen is they're not going with Bradford next year. They're going to sign him to an extension. They're going to trade him for a first-round pick. They're going to start that first-round pick in weeks 1 through 5 until Bridgewater comes back. That's what's going to happen. I had a hard time not picking Chicago in this game, to be honest with you. I mean, I think Chicago is probably going to get Bradford and give away a first-round pick because they know Matt Barkley is going to be a solid backup. I think he's proven that he could be a reliable backup for a couple weeks here and there. And so I think he is better than Bradford. I just see Bradford as a backup, but ultimately Minnesota's at home. I'm going with Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with you with going on Minnesota, Jared. Brandon, the way you talked about Bradford back there, I was curious if the GM for the Vikings has made you their official spokesperson because it seems like you're trying to pump up this Bradford thing and maybe get another first rounder like Jared suggested there. Get another first rounder for Bradford. I want Bradford to go down in history as having 20 first round draft picks spent on him and hopefully none by the Seahawks. That's how I want that to go. If
the Vikings get rid of him for a first round pick, I think nothing would make me happier because I do want to see the streak continue.
It's just so ridiculous. But I mean, seriously, there's so many guys that I would take. Like, say if I'm the Vikings, I would make a serious pitch to Tony Romo. Like, that'd be a guy that
without a doubt.
There's Mike Glennon, I would take over him. Hell, maybe the Texans want to trade Osweiler. I'd take Osweiler over Bradford. I mean, it just depends on, your particular taste in dumpster fires, whether you like a greasier one or like, just like straight trash, it just depends on what kind of dumpster fire you want.
I think Bradford's going to end up in Jacksonville with Coughlin.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. That's a good,
maybe.
Yeah. Because you got to figure the Jags are going to draft somebody, I would think.
Yeah.
All right. So we all got Vikings there. So moving on to another NFC matchup, the 13-2 Dallas Cowboys, still looking impressive going down the stretch, take on the Philadelphia Eagles, who haven't, the record hasn't been great, but they've been competitive in pretty much every game going down the stretch, Jared.
Yeah, they have. And I got to give it up to Carson Wentz buying his teammates shotguns. Engraved. $2,000 shotguns.
Wow.
Fox News liked it.
I kind of like Wentz.
Yeah, I do too. I actually really
like
do.
the Bakken Bomber, man. I like the Bakken Bomber. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, I think he's got a very promising future in the NFL. This week, though, the Cowboys are just still too good. Although, we're not really sure yet if Garrett's going to rest some of his offensive linemen, which I think maybe he should. And so then there's that question. It's like, do you rest Dak too and bring Tony Romo in? But if you're resting your offensive lineman, do you want to risk hurting Tony Romo, who you might need him in the postseason? What do you really do? Do you even dress Romo in this game?
I think the news came out that he is the emergency quarterback. They moved up whoever the other dude was to number 2.
Okay. I mean, regardless, though, I think I'm still going with Dallas in this game. I think they still have the type of team that can just kind of grind out a game, especially against the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm not in the business of picking when the Cowboys are going to lose unless they play the Giants. Then that'll probably be the next time that I pick against the Cowboys.
Yep.
78% going with Dallas, despite that news of potentially resting some guys and being at home against Philly. Philly did get that win at home here last week. 22% going with the Eagles, but yeah, I'm with Jared. I like Dallas.
Yeah, this is the part of Week 17 that's tough. I mean, you don't know exactly how teams are going to play these games and how competitive they're going to take them and just how much they're going to try. Look, Tyron Smith apparently has a hurt foot or toe or something like that. I doubt he plays. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of starts your cascading effect of, how many dudes sit. I'd be shocked if they let Sean Lee play, like, a lot in this game. I mean, pretty much their only good defender who happens to get hurt, like, every other day. I can't believe he's played a full season. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I always say how Sean Lee is completely overrated, but there's been a lot of primetime Cowboys games that I've seen, and that guy can flat out play football, man. I think this year he's been one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He's all over the place.
He's a heck of a player. I just never believed in him being healthy. I mean, because your best quality is availability, right? And he never seemed to be healthy. So the idea that he put together a season, I mean, he shows the kind of skills that he has, and he is the difference maker on that Cowboys defense, no doubt. That and that Irving guy that came out of freaking nowhere.
You mean the next Lawrence Taylor?
Can I have a bunch of guys off somebody's practice squads that are awesome pass rushers that look like Reggie White reborn? Like, that'd be cool.
It kind of feels a little New England-like.
It does.
Blah.
I think Jerry Jones probably made a deal with the devil.
That's probably happened more than once.
Yeah. So, yeah, Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Next up, this week's beer review.
This week is the Kress Bayrisch Zwickel. And I don't know what a Zwickel beer is, but it is a product of Germany, like many others, brewed after the Reinheitsgebot of 1516. Reinheitsgebot. Whatever that is.
Now, was that a party or like a revolution?
I don't even know I know some of my German. I'm not even sure what this word breaks down into. So I'm clueless on this one, guys. But
yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't have anything to do with lists or trains. that word.
1516. I think it was a little bit early for that.
Zwickel actually means not clarified or pasteurized.
Whoa. Okay. I can't believe Gerrad just pulled that out. That was very impressive.
It's basically unfiltered. Well, thanks, Google.
Yeah. But even still, I didn't know you had those kind of Google skills.
I didn't either. I'm impressed.
Man. I'm getting with it.
Wow. Okay.
I'm getting with it.
Well, I like how you're expanding your skills for your upcoming new child so that you'll be ready to be a good dad. That's impressive. Because you got to Google things like, what are these red bumps? And stuff
That's
like
true.
That.
Your Google
Why
game will
is he
get
still
stronger.
crying even after I shake him?
Exactly. It's important information. This beer, what is it? 5.3% alcohol. I'm going to be 1,000,000% honest. This tastes like every other one of these beers out of this box.
They all have a similar taste, don't they?
Yeah.
They really do.
Except for the one Doppelbock. That was the one good beer so far it was one that we didn't even review on the show. Every single one of these are very lager style beers that taste almost the exact same.
Right. So I think what I'm getting at here is
almost.
I think we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do about beer because I think I've had enough of these like semi-flat German beers.
Me too. Like what Brandon said, that Doppelbock was incredible, but the rest of them have had that similar flavor. And after a month of it, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do something different for the playoffs. Something different has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah. The tour of Germany has officially ended.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, so
done with Germany.
As far as this beer is concerned, I don't know that it's any better or any worse than the rest of them. It's not bad.
It's the same.
Yeah.
This one's just apparently unfiltered.
It's a jab. It's just a beer.
I wonder if something happened in the canning process between Germany and Costco, because if they just poured all the same beer into each can, with the exception of like 2 or 3 like surprise beers. And those are your Christmas presents. It's like, oh, there's the 2 or 3 different ones. This is a surprise.
Yeah, it's like the prize in the Cracker Jacks. No, but Brandon, I think if you like seriously poured out most of these beers and did a blind taste test in front of me, I couldn't pick them out.
I think they would be similar because have you ever guys? So Adam, I know you don't like the skunky beers, but when I drink, I like Heineken. I really like Beck's. I think Beck's is the highest quality of all of them. But if you drink Beck's or Heineken or St. Pauli Girl in a can, it has this flavor. It takes the skunkiness away. So I'm sure these would taste a little better if they came in a bottle, but I think the aluminum does something to it. It makes it taste different. So I think they screwed up with the can.
I did read up on the Winterfest that you and I drank last week, Gerrad, and that was actually pretty good beer, but there were a lot of people that got that beer last Christmas season and said that it tasted a lot like the aluminum can. So I think there might be something to your theory.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's the anti-skunk can.
We're on to you, Germany.
Yeah. Their anti-skunk technology is making all their beer taste exactly the same. You know, so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's drinkable. It's good. I would drink all these. Yeah. It's just that there's no difference.
So see what I think this beer is good for, or the beers in this box is like you have 4 of your regular beers and you're out and you have one more beer so you can go to sleep, you know, like to knock you out. This is your knockout beer. You know,
you got varying levels of alcoholic content in all these different beers.
Yeah.
They're all about the same.
Yeah, they're all about 5.
I'm glad it took us a quarter of the football season to decide that all these beers we just got done reviewing are the same.
Well, just this last month.
Hey, man, we're bringing it to you real. Like, that's what we're doing, man. Like, I don't know. What else do you want?
We know what Zwickel means, and you were able to pass that knowledge along. So I think we have a win for this week that we can hang our hat on.
All right. Well, let's leave on a high Zwickel note and move on to an AFC East matchup between playoff teams. Because down in Miami, you know what they're saying? Playoffs. And it's true. They're in. And so the Dolphins host the New England Patriots, Brandon.
This is an interesting matchup to me because neither one of these teams are going to want to give anything up to each other, because this could be a playoff matchup in a couple of weeks when the Patriots they have their first round bye. The Dolphins, they could potentially take down one of the division winners, especially if they end up getting the Texans most likely. If they get a win here, or even if they don't, I don't know what the matchups are quite yet.
I think they
play
play Kansas City right now. I think it's looking like they'd play KC.
Well, that's if KC has to win and get a bye. And the Raiders have to lose. Right now, the Raiders have the number 2 seed.
Yeah, they have the bye. So Pittsburgh, Houston, Kansas City, Miami. Those are the 4 other teams.
Yeah, but Kansas City's a wild card along with the Dolphins, so they have to play the division winners of Pittsburgh and Houston.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you're trying to do this reseeding thing, Gerrad, and it's not happening.
I'll tell you one thing, Gerrad. The one thing you don't argue with Brandon about is playoff scenarios. He's going through these.
I do,
and all the permutations. Like he knows them.
I do like playoff scenarios. So, no, well, okay. So I think they're going to end up playing Pittsburgh, but I think that could be maybe even a winnable game for the Dolphins. Matt Moore's actually looked like a serviceable quarterback for the Dolphins. They got a win last week, and I'm still going Patriots on this one, but I do think the Dolphins being in their own house and the Patriots maybe not wanting to show too much going into the postseason, not wanting to, play too many guys. I think we could see this being a close game. 80% going with the Patriots. I'm going there as well, but I would not be surprised if the Dolphins got a win here.
I looked at this one. I wish I would have been on the pod last week, because you would have heard me gush about Matt Moore for a couple minutes, because I've always liked
him too.
I think, I feel like he's kind of got a short end of a stick when it comes to the quarterbacking carousel in the NFL. Like, he's always just kind of stuck and forgotten about because his name is forgettable. Like, if that guy's name is Tom Savage, he's been a starter for somebody for 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were talking about Bradford earlier, and who else would you go with? Matt Moore. You go with Matt Moore. Like, that's a guy I would go with before I went with Bradford again. I like him a lot, but I think what's interesting in this game is you got Jimmy Garoppolo coming out, and he's going to play a lot in this game, and he's playing to be a starter somewhere next year, because the Patriots are going to trade him for a king's ransom to some quarterback starved team. This is his audition, man. He's going to be fired up. He played well early in the year. I think it's the battle of the backups, but I think Jimmy G's got more to play for his NFL future. So I'm taking the Patriots, but it won't be Matt Moore's fault. Let's put it to you that way.
I hate to have to agree with you guys, but I've kind of been always on the Matt Moore train myself. I've never seen him really play bad.
Yeah.
I've really never seen him play bad. I think Miami's got a chance in this game, especially if Garoppolo sees a lot of time. But this New England team is so good. I don't think they're going to have to show much in this game to win. I think it's going to be close. But yeah, I still got to go New England. I got to go to the Patriots.
Yeah, and fuck the Finns. Like, that's the other thing I forgot to add.
Yo, I
hate them.
They're 9-1 in their last 10 games or something like that.
Something crazy.
That's
I know,
ridiculous.
It's crazy. Adam Gase has done a hell of a job. Look,
Yep.
I think Matt Moore could have been Alex Smith good if he had gotten the same sort of opportunities.
Yeah, that's
Does he
going
play
a little
Tannehill
bit.
out of the job?
No.
No, probably not. They just paid Tannehill, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Matt Moore is
and his
just
ACL.
of the upper tier of backups. That's what he is. He's like a grade above Sean Hill.
He's two grades above Sean Hill. Sean Hill didn't even put down his beer when he went into the games this last year.
Sean Hill's got the fattest face I've ever seen in a helmet, other than
And the
Sebastian
gut.
Janikowski.
What about Matt Stafford?
He's got a sausage head for sure.
He's trimmed down though.
But-
Sausage head, yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah. See, I've always thought of Tony Saragusa as having like the fattest head like stuck in a helmet. Like, I feel like he owns the.
Well, that's one thing for a defensive lineman to have a fat head, but for a quarterback,
Yeah, that is weird. Big Ben is in that conversation then.
that's true.
Yeah, they look like the Michelin Man just put on a helmet.
Yeah, looks like they held the crown of the helmet up against the wall and then like just shoved their head into it like really fast. Like, that's how they get it on. Maybe with a little Crisco. I don't know.
We're bad people.
Yeah, all right. So no, we're not. We just don't like people with giant heads and tiny helmets. Fat guy in a tiny helmet. That's what that looks like. All right. So we all like Patriots. Let's go on to another game none of us care about. The 3-12 Jags go on the road to take on the 7-8 Colts.
I am going Colts in this one. Andrew Luck, I like him to get to 8-8. Congratulations, Colts. You did it. You're 500 with a win over the Jaguars. 93% of users agree.
That was pretty genuine, Brandon. That congrats was pretty genuine. But,
Well, when you have
yeah.
Andrew
Bro,
Luck
if
as your quarterback, you
you're
don't
a dick
expect
at
to go
heart.
8-8.
Yeah.
You
You know, I
expect a
don't
winning
believe
record.
in Jacksonville at all. They don't even have a coach. Go in Indy.
Well, yeah. I mean, no coach is a problem. You should have some of those
Yeah.
when you play football. You should have coaches.
I'm not going to watch this game either.
I'm not either. Brandon, I mean, that was you were kind of a dick to Indy there. Like I mean, a lot of teams would kill to have an 8-8 season. Ask Cleveland. Ask Cleveland if they would trade where they are for Andrew Luck and 8-8. I think they would all do it and throw in their firstborn to make that trade happen. I'm pretty sure.
Put Andrew Luck
But
on the
I'm
Browns.
just curious if this win would be enough to save.
Put Andrew Luck on the Browns,
Save
and
Pagano.
I think that they go 8-8.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they'll win this
maybe.
game. But does Pagano come back for another year?
Will he or should he?
Yes.
I don't know if he
either. Take your
does.
pick.
I don't think so, because I think they need to put the blame on someone other than their horrible defense and that terrible offensive line. And so I think they're going to use Pagano as somewhat of a scapegoat. I kind of think he's gotten a raw deal in Indy because they just have no talent on that team after that Andrew Luck contract, but he's the one who's going to take the blame. I think he's gone.
Yeah, that GM, I feel like Gregson has really painted Pagano into a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know they both extended 3 years this offseason. So there was a commitment made to both those guys to work together going forward. But yeah, it's tough for me to, I've never seen a franchise that has such a disconnect between the level of talent on the team and the level of expectations for the team. Like the fans don't seem to get that. They've got a couple nice pieces, yes, and a franchise quarterback, yes, but not a hell of a lot else. And yeah, I think their ire gets taken out on Pagano a little unfairly. Glad you guys agree. All right,
Brandon
moving on.
Brandon does not
Bengals-
care.
Ravens at Bengals. As you both just stare at your phone.
I was
That's
waiting
cool.
for Brandon, and he just doesn't care because it's not a top tier quarterback. So apparently
Andrew Luck
Pagano is not a top tier quarterback, so we're not going to talk about him.
That's true.
Was this discussed on last week's pod? Brandon, did you declare Luck not a top tier quarterback?
No, I did not. He's saying that the GM isn't a quarterback. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, on to a team that Brandon should care about. The Baltimore Ravens take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Who you got, Jared?
Another game that doesn't matter, but Baltimore is a better team, even though they played themselves right out of the playoffs. They had a chance. It was there. They didn't take it, but Cincinnati sucks going Baltimore on the road.
I'm really surprised that Baltimore tailed off this way toward the end of the season because they were right in it. They had their chance. They beat Miami, who's getting in the playoffs ahead of them. And I really think that this is a better team than the Dolphins. It's just they had kind of a rough go toward the end of the year, having to take on New England, having to take on Pittsburgh, and now that they don't have anything to play for, I think the Bengals win this game at home. This is my risk pick. Only 18% going Cincinnati, 82% going with the Ravens, but I like Cincinnati at home to finish off the year.
See, you're totally wrong on the Ravens because the reason why they are how they are is because of two words, Brandon. Joe Flacco. This is exactly what Joe Flacco gets you. 8-8.
But if he gets in the playoffs, he gets it done.
A little tease to get you into the playoff. Like that's basically what Flacco has done here. And it's because of one factor with him. You know, I mentioned Savage, if he grew like a mustache, that'd be solid, right? Well, Flacco's got the anti-mustache. He's got the unibrow that's so thick that the football gods smack him down. Like, that's part of it. It's a unibrow problem in Baltimore, but I'm still taking the Ravens because Cincinnati has no heart this year at all. AJ Green, I'm sure, won't play again with that hamstring thing. It's time to get rid of Marvin Lewis. It's just gone stale. Bring in Jeff Fisher to right the ship in Cincinnati. I think that'd be great. And, bring in another Rasputin that'll live for like 12 years there and bring you to mediocrity. I don't know, man. The Bengals stink. So, yeah, I'll take the Ravens and maybe in Steve Smith Sr.'s last game.
Most likely his last game. He's done after this.
Yeah, he should be done after this. He finished off a good career. I would vote Steve Smith Hall of Fame. He's been a solid player for his entire career.
Yeah, for career numbers, I think he's probably going to get in.
I like Steve Smith. Maybe that clouds my judgment, but I really like Steve Smith.
I love Steve Smith, the player. I really do. And I think he does have decent numbers. But if I look at his entire career, do I ever think to myself, Steve Smith is one of the top 2, top 3 receivers at any given time? I don't think that I do. I mean, we're talking about, Randy Moss and Terrell Owens and, a lot of really great players, Marvin Harris and Reggie Wayne. I mean, there's a lot of guys that played during his era that I think were maybe.
I like Steve Smith better than Reggie Wayne.
Yeah.
He's better than Reggie Wayne?
Yeah. And Steve Smith played longer than those guys, though. That's the thing. Longevity is a part of Hall of Fame. Your total numbers are
it does make him
in.
A bit of it makes him a bit of a compiler. That's for sure.
You're a compiler.
Well, I love Steve Smith. I really do. I'm not sure he's a Hall of Fame player, and that pains me to say it. Really, I don't see him as. If you're going to get in the Hall of Fame, to me the bar is: were you top 3 at your position any given year? And I don't think you can say that for him.
I don't know. I'd have to look. I feel like he's up
you have
there.
a point. It just depends on who he's going to go up against.
But if he ends up in the Hall of Fame, I'm not sad. I guess it kind of falls into the Hines Ward category a little bit.
Yeah, he's that same guy.
Yeah, except Hines Ward was a better blocker.
Yeah, he knocked guys on their ass.
Yeah, I think just in blocking alone, Hines Ward makes it in the Hall of Fame. He's the best blocking receiver I've ever seen.
Fitzgerald's gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah, Fitzgerald's
but he's
good
going to be in the
around.
Hall of Fame anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the AFC West, where the Kansas City Chiefs, who will most likely take second in that division, just as I predicted, they take on the San Diego Chargers in San Diego. Maybe the last time in San Diego. Who knows? Who cares? But the Chiefs was something to play for, Gerrad.
Yeah, you said it, San Diego. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. They need to go somewhere else where they can have a home field advantage. That's all I know. Kansas City, I mean, Travis Kelce, have you guys watched him play this season? Mm-hmm. Holy crap, man. He's doing everything. He's blocking. He's catching passes. He's running good routes. He's got speed. I'm going to go Kansas City in this game. They do have a lot to play for. Division's still kind of up for grabs for them if they want it. I mean, they've just been playing pretty good ball. They will have a clinker of a game here and there, and you never know if it's going to happen. This game against Phillip Rivers, he kind of does have those FU games where he'll just torch a team for no reason. But Kansas City's defense is still pretty good too, so I'm going Kansas City.
I'm going Kansas City as well. And Adam, you were wrong about the Chiefs being the number 2 in the NFC West. They are the AFC West. They are going to be number 1 in the AFC West after this week. They're going to win this division just like I predicted at the start of the season. And I'm going Chiefs right here. Only 8% going with the Chargers in this game.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the standings right now. Yeah, turns out Chiefs are number 2 in that division. That's right
the
where they are.
The season isn't over yet.
And they'll continue to be there even when they win this game, because I'm picking the Chiefs. The Raiders will probably pull through later on in the schedule that day. And they'll still finish second.
Later on in the schedule that day.
It's a clunker of a sentence. They can't all be winners. All right. Later on in the schedule that day. Yeah, they play at 4:25. So we'll know if the Raiders have anything to play for at that point.
This is going on. This is the exact same time. They play at 4:25. These games are going on concurrently, Adam.
Oh, well, that makes it that it's at the same time later on in the schedule of that day. All right, whatever. Chiefs win. Nobody cares about the Chargers. And that's that. Gerrad, how'd you feel about the fattest guy ever throwing a touchdown pass to end the Denver Broncos?
Oh man,
season?
that burned me in the worst way possible. That was the biggest rub in, but for the Chiefs fans, they deserved it. As Broncos fans, we deserved it. They kind of deserved that moment because we've been rubbing it into their faces for years now. I mean, at some point we had to be dethroned. Unfortunately, it was this year, but you can't really fault them for it. Andy Reid needed that to happen. So whatever.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a lot of credit, Gerrad, for taking it on the chin like a real fan and being like, yeah, I didn't like it, but we deserved it. That's nice.
Well, if we would have done it to a divisional foe, I would have loved it.
Exactly. And you're at least fair about that. And I appreciate that, because there's a lot of fans for a lot of different teams that would come out and be crybaby shit asses about it. And they would be. So I'm just, a little golf clap.
I was furious. I about threw my beer through the television when that happened. I wanted to, when he did that jump pass, I wanted to kick him right in the nuts, man. Right in the nuts when he was in midair.
We had a very different reaction. I wanted to give him a high five. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Brandon, what was the name of that play? What did Andy recall?
Bloated Tebow pass.
You guys got beat by the bloated Tebow.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
NFC West matchup.
All right. Easy win for the Seahawks here. Taking on the 49ers in wine and cheese country. Tickets have been discounted, I believe. And I think the only thing you have to watch out for a little bit is Kaepernick's been frisky. He's been a little frisky. He can play still. The Denver Broncos starting quarterback next year, Colin Kaepernick.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Elway wanted him before.
He doesn't want him anymore.
Can happen again.
Nope.
I don't know. He's looked all right.
We are Simeon or Tony Romo.
Not enough.
He might be able to get you to 10 wins, Gerrad.
Mm-hmm. And into the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Because you couldn't. Yeah. Because the Jizz couldn't get you there, dude.
The Jizz could have got us there had he had some form of an offensive line. He played pretty well.
As a Seahawks fan, what I don't want to hear about is your offensive line problems. Okay.
I think we would take the Broncos offensive line at this point. We'll trade you straight up.
You say that now. You say that now. You don't want these guys, man.
I would take them over what we got, man.
You want Matt Paradis, our center. That's the only one you want. That's it.
Hey, well, our center's the only one worth a damn too. So
isn't that stupid? God damn, that's stupid.
All right, so I got Hawks, obviously. Brandon, you got Niners in a -40, and
4% going with the Niners, Gerrad. Are you going to join the 4%?
In wine country, I hate wine country. I don't care how many percentage of people up there. I'm going Seattle. That's it.
All right, go Hawks then.
They're kind of backing their way into the playoffs here, not looking real good. They'll need an easy game to kind of maybe heal up a little bit and restore some of that pride.
Yeah, I'd be happy for a get right game here. That sounds real nice. We could use that. Because last week was an abomination. Like I'm still
mad about that game.
I was so happy. Oh, okay. So I got to tell you, my brother knows Adam pretty well. And when Seattle eventually got the lead back, my brother shakes his head. He's like, man, I can see the stupid shit-eating grin on Adam's face right now. And then they gave up the lead, and I go, man, I can see that awesome shit-eating grin on Adam's face right now. It was great, because we were picturing your stupid shit-eating grin face.
Well, I got a text from our mutual friend Leah Gerrad and said that she just saw my hat land in her yard all the way in Livingston. Right after that kick went in.
We were loving that game.
I didn't watch it live, so I didn't have a shit-eating grin. I was looking at little kids' shit-eating grins and picking which one was the best and then hitting print. So no grins. You guys were wrong.
I loved that game. What a game.
Oh, man. All right, guys. NFC West matchup here. But before we get to that, let's talk winners.
Let's talk winners of the All 32 Picks and IPAs podcast league on NFL.com. 4 kicks and skittles, 170 points, followed by Primo Hawk with 160 points, and Big Papa String also at 160. So, and then just a boatload of people at 150 for this last week. Good week. And looking at the overall leaderboard, we got Lieutenant Nacho Cheese and Biggity Cool tied at 21-10 in third place. Toonhawk. Congrats, John. Way to be up there.
Man. Well, congratulations to those guys. I've been consistently 160, 170 points out from the overall lead for about 6 weeks now. I just couldn't catch them.
I'm 300 points out, so I have no chance.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's more than 300.
300 and 160 points out?
Probably more than that.
Sounds about right.
I think I'm like your guys' combined losing here. I'm more than that.
It hasn't been a good year for Gerrad or the Broncos.
Thanks.
The stupid Arizona Cardinals go on the road again to take on the stupid Los Angeles Rams in this stupid game that I hope like an alien culture comes from another like galaxy and just vaporizes the Coliseum, and we don't have to see any of these people ever again. That's what I'm hoping for. That's my prediction is vaporization, Brandon.
It'd make for an interesting NFC West next year when it's just the Seahawks and Niners left over.
Yeah. I smell a title, a division title.
I think you could lock it up already. This one's easy for me. 88% going with the Cardinals. I'm going with Arizona. The Rams couldn't even beat the Niners. Apparently the Niners have the Rams kryptonite, able to beat that LA defense twice this year for some unknown reason. But I like the Cardinals going on the road in LA.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals too. I mean, riding high after last week's amazing victory over the Seattle Seahawks.
Hey, let's go back and talk about that Dontari Poe touchdown. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was okay. But I mean, the Los Angeles Rams, the future home of potentially Josh McDaniels, I think he's licking his chops maybe. Going to get into some warm weather. Still going to Arizona after their amazing victory last weekend.
I think that's a bad place for Josh McDaniels to end up.
Of course it is.
I feel like there's other jobs. I think there's other jobs out there that would be better suited for him, and I can't think of them right now. But I mean, even Jacksonville might be a better job just because you'll have your pick of quarterbacks rather than Jared Goff. And I actually kind of believe in Jared Goff. I think he's going to be all right. But that ownership group, Stan Kroenke and the like, I mean, it's just a bad organization to work for right now. And I wouldn't be excited to go there if with that GM who apparently rubs people the wrong way too. So I don't know. Doesn't look good for him. But yeah, I'm taking Cardinals in what is Carson Palmer's last game as a legitimate NFL quarterback. This is it. This is the last one. Say your goodbyes, people, because him and his cadaver knee is more or less done in this league. Yeah, cadaver knee. That's what
Take that, Carson. Adam just crushed you and your cadaver knee.
Yeah. All right. So we all got Cardinals. Let's move on to the AFC West and one team that people care about. The Oakland Raiders taking on the forgettable Denver Broncos this year. You know what? Even though this goes against my divisional pick and everything, I picked the Chiefs earlier, and I'm picking the Broncos at home. Just the Derek Carr thing, man. I mean, just it's Oakland McRaider. Like
it's Oakland McRaider.
That's tough to get on board with. I don't know, Brandon.
It does. It goes against your division. So you're agreeing with me. The Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. I will.
No, the football gods decided by breaking Derek Carr's leg. That's what happened.
I'll take it. I'll take the win. However it comes to me. I had no control over what Derek Carr would happen to him in week 16 of the NFL season, and I do like the Broncos.
I just needed Derek Carr to have a little more calcium, man.
A little more.
Like,
There's a couple guys in this league. Mariota needs to have more calcium. Tyler Lockett.
Earl Thomas.
It's too many broken legs this year. I don't like it. But I do like the Broncos to win this game, to go to 9-7. Dontari Poe won't be throwing any touchdown passes for the Raiders, obviously. So they have that going for them. 53% like the Broncos to win this game. 47% of Oakland Raider fans still hanging on, thinking that they'll be able to beat the Broncos in Mile High. I don't think so. Denver's going to win this one.
This is going to be a tough game because, we're going to be playing Paxton Lynch likely for the entire second half. And that's tough because he's just not good right now. He can't read a defense. Actually, Matt McGloin played pretty well for the Oakland Raiders when he was playing. He was a competent player. That's why they still have him. He's a decent backup. The Raiders are obviously losing a lot with Derek Carr going down, but I don't think they're losing as much as everybody thinks.
Jared, it sounds like you're taking the Raiders in this game. Wait, what's going on here?
That's just how I'm starting. Everybody's pretty down on the Raiders just for losing Derek Carr, but Matt McGloin, he is a very competent backup quarterback. I think people are kind of starting to count him out. But us playing Paxton Lynch for a half, that's catastrophic to us trying to win what will likely be Gary Kubiak's last game. With his health problems, he's been hinting at retirement for weeks now, and I think he's going to do it. I don't think he can really handle doing this any longer. So, I hope we pull out a win for him. I got the Broncos just for the sake of Gary Kubiak, potentially his last game.
Wow, a lot to unpack there. In fact, Gerrad, you switched it over. You brought clarity to me with the Paxton Lynch information. I didn't know that. Going to the second, that definitely has swung my vote because the Raiders are going to win this game and take the division just like I predicted earlier in the year. Because Oakland McRaider, he is a good, competent backup. You're right, Gerrad. You're right. It's the Raiders on the road to put the final dagger in the Kubiak offense. If this is indeed the last game for the Kubiak, because we know that basically Kubiak's health insurance does not fit in a Kubiak offense, apparently, because his health has become a problem. I'm surprised to hear you say this is his last game. I hadn't heard those rumblings, but who's next? What are they looking at?
Oh shit, I don't know. Maybe we give Josh McDaniels another shot. Good luck trying to figure that one out. I really have no idea. I don't know.
Kelly.
It depends on
Rex Ryan.
It's not Rex Ryan, Brandon. It's not Rex Ryan. Okay, it's just not Rex Ryan.
Ryan.
Elway will not have Rex Ryan in the house. Guaranteed. That ain't happening. I would think maybe he brings in Coughlin for a couple of years. I don't really know. It hasn't really been discussed what's going on with Kubiak. He's just been hinting at this, so we haven't really talked about who Elway would want to bring in, but it'll be interesting to see.
Bring in Chip Kelly along with Colin Kaepernick.
That's not happening.
There you go. Well, they're going to have a lot of things to decide on in Denver when they finish their season 500.
Come on.
Good for. How'd that go, Brandon? What'd you wish the Colts for being 8-8? Did you give them a congratulations?
I gave them a congratulations. You're 8-8.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to hear that same heartfelt congratulations.
They're going to win this one for the
Broncos.
It'll be 9-7.
All right. All right, moving on to a game that matters because of playoff seeding. The New Orleans Saints 7-8 travel to Atlanta to take on Matty Ice and the Falcons, who are once again a chic pick after falling off the map there for a little while. The Falcons, they win. They keep the number 2 seed, but I don't know why I'm telling you about playoff scenarios. I'm going to let Brandon fill you in.
I'm supposed to be the playoff scenario guy. I want the Falcons to lose this game in the biggest way and drop to the number 3 seed so Seattle can get the win over the 49ers, reclaim the number 2 seed. But I don't want to get overly hyped up with the Saints. This is going to be a shootout type of game. Like Drew Brees, after getting snubbed for the Pro Bowl vote and going up against an actual Pro Bowl quarterback in Matt Ryan, I think that gives Drew Brees a little bit of an edge in this game to really shoot it out against the Falcons. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Falcons ultimately win this game and leave me disappointed. So I'll take the Falcons and then just be happy if the Saints happen to win and I have to take the loss in the Pick'em League. A lot of people, 89% going with the Falcons on this one.
I'm going with the user consensus too. I mean, I would love Drew Brees to win this game, but sorry, Seattle fans, not getting that 2 seed because frankly, you're not good enough. But this Atlanta team is a lot better than this Atlanta team of past. I mean, we saw them go toe-to-toe with some pretty hard-nosed defenses, and they actually hung in there, actually won a couple of those games. Going Atlanta. They're a better team than they have been in the past.
Is this a big game? Would we classify this a big game?
If there's big names, if that qualifies as a big game.
The Falcons need this to hold on to the number 2 seed. It's a big game for them. It's a division game against Drew. This is a big game.
All right, so it's a big game. This is an easy pick to me. Matty Ice freezes every time he gets in a big game. This guy is anti-clutch, man. And Drew Brees is the exact opposite of that. He brought New Orleans back from Katrina single-handedly with just his birthmark and his right arm. He's amazing. He's amazing, and he's going to take down Matt Ryan and the hapless Falcons again. Because you throw out the records when these two teams play, especially in the Georgia Dome, which is that's barely a home field advantage. It's basically San Diego East. You know, I mean, it's a terrible fan base. It's a terrible franchise, and on top of that, Dan Quinn owes Pete Carroll a solid for getting him a head coaching gig. Like this is part of the deal. Dan. Like he promotes him actively, and he throws this game for the Seahawks. Drew Brees will take down Matty Ice and company.
Matty Ice against that New Orleans secondary, though.
That's an easy day.
Yeah,
there is that. Okay, well, that's my hopeful pick. You got to see the way that I look at it, guys, is I know, Brandon, you kind of took the reverse jinx angle to it. Like, I really want the Saints to win too, but like basically what I'm doing is you have to envision success for success to happen. You have to think positive. Like, so I'm channeling that. Like, that's what I'm going for.
I take a different approach, but I hope they work equally as well.
Well, we got it all covered.
You're both wrong. Atlanta's winning the game. Whatever approach you want to take, they're both dumb.
I picked Atlanta.
Well, I would just like to point out that I've picked a lot more correct games than Gerrad has over the course of the season. And this feels like another one.
You could mail it in.
I'm just saying.
Adam, you could not pick the entire playoffs and still finish ahead of Gerrad, I think.
Yeah, this is all I'm getting at. You know, I mean, I know stuff, and he's a Broncos fan. So
it's been a tough year.
All right, let's move on to the NFC East. The 10-5 New York Giants take on the Washington Redskins 8-6-1. Somehow the Giants became the other team out of the NFC East to make the playoffs. That's still mind-boggling to me. But this is a game that I think that they should lose, like they do every time they go on a random Eli Super Bowl run. They lose that Week 17 game, but somehow gain confidence out of it. Yeah, I'm going with the Redskins because Captain Kirk's playing to not be tagged next year.
Well, then the Redskins are going to be the third playoff seed in coming out of the NFC East. The Giants are, the Cowboys are in, the Giants are in. All Washington needs is a win in this game, and they are in the playoffs, which leaves either the Packers or Lions sitting out. And I'm with you, Adam. I like Washington to win this game. This is going to be who the Seahawks are going to be playing in that first week of the playoff season. Washington's going to have to come all the way across the country to the other Washington, and that's who's going to be playing the Seahawks. But sticking to this game, 39%, only 39% user consensus. Giants, they could sit everybody in this game. It doesn't matter to them. They're locked into the number 5 seed, and it's really Captain Kirk who's playing for something in this game, which is why I like the Redskins.
You know, I'm going to agree with you guys. And Adam, that point you made about the Giants losing this game to gain confidence to go on an Eli Super Bowl win, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly why I'm picking the Redskins. I'm like, they're going to lose this game and somehow sweep the playoffs. They're just going to do it. I'm going Washington.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I thought Washington had been eliminated from playoff contention, so I didn't realize they had playoff.
When they're in right here.
Brandon. Yeah. I needed Brandon here with the playoff scenarios to let me know that was a real deal.
They're going to knock Green Bay out.
I guess so let's say Captain Kirk loses this game. What do you do with him next year if you're Redskins? And what do you do with him if he wins this game?
I think the answer is the same thing. You aren't going to find anybody better out there. You just have to find a way to sign him to a deal that makes sense. And I just wonder if Captain Kirk's going to be willing to sign a long-term deal versus taking another year as the
franchise.
What franchise tag? Thank you.
I don't know. I'm just glad that my team is not in this position with Kirk Cousins. This is one of those on the fence situations like I've never seen with a quarterback before. And I don't think the Redskins know exactly what they're going to do. I think they're going to offer him a low amount. But I mean, like you said, who are they really going to get that's better at this point? I mean, the Redskins didn't have a ton of talent, and they still have a good record.
You know, I think that they do have a ton of talent on offense. There's a lot of weapons there. And, I mean, if Kirk Cousins was to be successful and take this team on a run, I think this was kind of the team to do it on. I mean, it really is built around kind of his dink and dunk kind of style and in his way that he plays the game. I feel like the Kirk Cousins decision is super easy.
I would pay him.
And to me, I would do the exact opposite. I would get rid of him. Because Kirk Cousins is 9-7 every year, 8-8. He's a mediocre quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a franchise guy. He's not a guy that can just turn games around and take it into his own hands and just win you 3 or 4 random games and push you into the playoffs or to a Super Bowl title. He's a complimentary quarterback. He's a guy that needs a bunch of stuff around him, a great defense, a great running game, and then maybe you can win the Super Bowl. Well, I don't understand why you would put a ceiling on your success, like your possible success going forward by signing a mediocre quarterback to big time money. Who are you going to get that's better? That's not the point. The point is maybe even bringing somebody way worse so that you actually can then draft a guy who's actually better. Being mired in mediocrity is the dumbest thing you can do as an NFL franchise. Look, if you want to tag him for one more year just to see, like I could get that. There's no way I'm signing him to a long-term deal right now.
There's no way Snyder is ready to draft a guy and be in rebuilding mode. That's just not who he is. That's not what he wants to do. And this year when I'm seeing Kirk Cousins play, you mentioned him being a dink and dunk quarterback. This year he developed the deep ball and developed it with precision, man. He threw the deep ball just as well as any other quarterback in the NFL. They can hang points like the best of them, but they have not had a defense in how many years now? I mean, I don't know if you pay him to a long-term deal, but I think you at least keep him around next year, see what he's going to do, because I actually think he's improved quite a bit. He just doesn't have a defense to hang in games.
I think he's a beneficiary of the talent around him. I think if you put him, say if you put him on the Seahawks, he gets killed. Like, I mean, he doesn't have.
They have an offensive line in Washington, at least. At least they have an offensive line there.
Yeah, they have an offensive line, and they have, like, between Jordan Reed and Jackson and Garcon, I mean, they've got real playmakers on the outside. I really think this is about Pete Cousins. This is the best that you can get from him, and it's not a Super Bowl effort. I'm sorry, it's just not. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Or he's not going to be a guy that will lead you there.
There have been worse Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. I guess the thing is they haven't been paid that much, those quarterbacks. So I don't know. It's a sticky situation. I'm glad I'm not in it.
And you have to pay the man so much money. That's the thing.
Yeah. Franchise him for maybe they franchise him for another year. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's the right approach to take here.
Yeah.
And then he holds out and he puts a big cloud over your team and it turns into a fucking circus. I don't know, man.
Yes.
I'm out on Cousins.
I hear you. I can tell.
All right. Two teams that are playing to not be out. The Green Bay Packers take on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. And this is for the division title. Am I correct?
This is for the division title. And if Washington wins, then one of these teams is sitting at home after this game.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. I don't think any of us would have predicted that the Packers and the Lions would come down to their Week 17 matchup to decide their playoff fate for the most part. That's insane.
No, I'm with you. I thought the Packers, they would, after Minnesota clearly looked like they were taking a dump this year, I thought that the Packers would be the one to overcome. But the Lions they seem to keep coming back and having so many fourth quarter comebacks this year with Matt Stafford and now with his finger being hurt, you question if he is going to have what it takes. Since he's gotten his hurt finger, he hasn't brought this team back in any games. In fact, they haven't even really been close enough to come back in the fourth quarter of these games. That's why I like the Packers to go into Detroit and get the win in this game. 69% going with the Packers, 31% with the Lions.
Boy, I'm actually kind of torn on this game. I mean, like you said, the hand injury has been pretty big for Stafford and this whole Lions team, really. What I want Green Bay out of the playoffs for a year. I mean, Brandon, you're a big playoff scenario guy. Here is what I want to happen so badly. I want Washington to win. I want Detroit to win. Green Bay's out of the playoffs. Washington eventually plays the Seahawks, and Kirk Cousins takes down the Seahawks just to piss Adam off. That's what I want to have happen. Unfortunately, with that finger injury, I got to pick Green Bay in this game because I don't think the Lions have what it takes around Stafford to make it happen.
Boo on your scenario. That's what I say. That's bullshit. I don't like it at all. But I'm with you on the sense that I would like to see the Packers out of the playoffs. And in fact, I think Aaron Rodgers needs, I think he needs not just a slice of humble pie. I think he needs like a pie of the month humble pie, like delivery service that brings him one for like a full solid year or at least an off season.
Record pie.
This dude needs, this guy needs like, he needs some comeuppance. And I think they need a coaching change. And I think this is the game that could spur all of that. Look, the Packers, I understand Rodgers has been hot the last couple of weeks, and Stafford still actually has looked okay with the hurt finger on top of all that. Like, he's still making throws. I watched a little bit of his game last week and was still like, oh, okay, he can still sling it. It's not going to be a gigantic issue. The Lions are at home. I think that they hate this Packers team that much, especially after getting knocked out by the Packers last year the way they did on that crazy Hail Mary. You remember that crazy Hail Mary from last year of Rodgers beating the Lions with the other Rodgers catching it? Yeah, Rodgers. They ain't getting that this year. And I think they go down. Down goes Aaron Rodgers. Massive amount of humble pie. See you later, Mike McCarthy. And Jim Bob Cooter and the Detroit Lions take their show on the road in the playoffs.
I don't know if I'm picking a duel, I'm picking Aaron Rodgers, and I'm picking Kirk Cousins to take down the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Gross.
That is gross.
I bring Cousins all day to the clinic. That sounds good.
Exactly. Things haven't worked out very well for Washington when they've taken on Seattle in the playoffs.
Hey, I would rather see Kirk Cousins than Carson Palmer. I'd rather see Kirk Cousins than Eli Manning. I don't want to see Eli Manning in the playoffs.
Well, we're going to see him in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see him. I don't. I'd rather see somebody else. I'd rather see Dak Prescott than Eli Manning at this point.
Well, you're going to lose to both of them. It doesn't matter.
Well, at least, they got a chance to see who they are going to play being in the playoffs.
Nice we haven't really talked about this. How nice is it to be in the playoffs? It's really nice knowing that you won your division and you're in the playoffs.
We've had a lot of division titles lately. It feels good
because there's more football to watch of your team. We've had a lot of
division titles lately. 1 year off isn't the worst thing in the world.
I wouldn't know what that's like.
If you wouldn't have won
I don't think the Seahawks have taken a year off the playoffs since their Super Bowl win. So
that's okay.
Hey, Hey, look, we took a year off winning the division last year, but we still just decided to go to the playoffs again. So, like, at least there's that. You don't have to win the division to go to the playoffs, Gerrad. If you needed a year off, you could have done that and still gotten to the playoffs, like
That's
a real
okay.
team.
It's fine. My Broncos have gotten me 3 Super Bowl wins. It's fine. We don't need a heartbreak this year. We got our 3 wins. We got our shit ton of division titles. We could take a year out of the playoffs. It's fine.
Just keep telling yourself that. I think Gerrad has some practice rehearsing this into his tear-filled pillow at night. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
Matter. It is. It's fine. Come on.
Beth is like wondering if she needs to like call a counselor or something for him, like getting concerned.
It's fine. We just
Let me
got
at
a
least
Super
get you a
Bowl
dry
last year.
pillowcase, Gerrad.
We're still coming off a Super Bowl just last season. It's fine.
All right.
That was a lot of happiness.
Brandon, did you officially pick did you officially pick Packers Lions?
I did.
Brandon?
I picked the Packers.
Oh, okay.
I went first.
All right.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. All right.
It was a long time ago.
Well, let's move on to topics.
News and interesting topics from around the NFL.
I only have one, and it just revolves around the injuries this week. I mean, the NFL landscape changed so much this season because of injuries. Do you feel like it's an anomaly, or is this a product of, the way that they train in the offseason these days, or like just the Thursday night games, or what is it to you guys? I mean, because I think we all agree it's a bummer that no Derek Carr for the playoffs, Mariota going down, changed that whole Titans season. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could start in the playoffs like Tom Savage that I could give a rip about. It's a bummer.
So here's my thing with the broken fibulas. I mean, that to me is an anomaly. That's not a training problem. That takes some serious. You saw Earl Thomas. You can't train to avoid that kind of an injury. That's just going to happen. I mean, anybody who took that kind of a contact is going to break their leg. Derek Carr, the way that twisted, that's just going to happen no matter what. My concern is the ACL injuries that have been happening over the last 5-6 years. That's where it is for me. I think there's too much muscle on bodies, on joints that really aren't able to hold up to this type of impact, to these types of explosive movements with these size of bodies. That's where my concern is. These broken fibulas, I mean, even with Mariota's, these are just kind of fluky things. They just all came in 3 broken fibulas in 3 weeks? That usually doesn't happen. You don't usually hear of a broken fibula in football, but those are anomalies. The ones that are the concern to me are the ACL injuries.
I am a little bit concerned, though, about these broken fibulas. I go back to my time when I was in the Navy, and we went and talked to people at boot camp for the Navy, and they said a lot of the kids coming in were having issues getting through boot camp with weird kinds of broken bones because they're just not growing up drinking milk. We joked about drinking milk and how important it is for bone health, but I think maybe there's something of a concern here. A lot of kids growing up drinking soda, not knowing the importance of keeping your bones healthy. Maybe this is a symptom of that. These young guys starting to get into these situations where they're getting broken bones that really we haven't seen in the past.
So the NFL's next big ad campaign has got milk again?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, whatever. You guys like this milk thing. Mountain Dew Code Red totally fills in for milk. Like, you drink enough of that.
Oh, see, it's not going to be milk, Gerrad. It's going to be Mountain Dew Code Red with calcium
and vitamin D.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, they do make like a juice Mountain Dew combo at like Taco Bell. I saw an ad for it, and they listed Mountain Dew like it's an ingredient. They're like, orange juice, fresh this, fresh that, and dew. like it was like it's an ingredient in and of itself. No, it's not. But I guess I wasn't speaking just directly to these fibula fractures. I mean, I think you're right about the randomness of that a little bit, Gerrad. But I just kind of, the league as a whole this year feels diluted because of injuries, maybe more than ever. I mean, when you look at the Vikings season, for example, I mean, I don't know how much more God could hate them. I mean, and it kind of speaks to the ACL stuff you were talking about, Gerrad, like whether that's Peterson or Bridgewater going down non-contact and like his entire knee just explodes. I mean, it does seem there's something that's not quite working. And I think part of it to me is the Thursday night games and the type of wear and tear you're putting on guys' body, I would definitely be in favor of 2 fewer preseason games. I'd be in favor of maybe even shortening the regular season by a week. There's got to be a way, because I don't know that you can actually go through a season with regularity anymore in this game. I think the Brett Favres of the world are no longer. I mean, just the guys are too big.
Yeah, I think with the wear and tear and the type of game that this is, with these explosive movements, with these consistent car wrecks that happen to the body, I think these are long seasons. They're just getting too worn down, but good luck getting the NFL to get rid of any games whatsoever. That's not going to happen. There was just talk, what was it, a year or two ago, about extending the season. And so I think the injuries are going to continue to happen, but I think we're seeing the human body be pushed beyond the limits that it's normally capable of. I mean, when you look at soccer, these guys are smaller. You know, they're not holding on to 250 to 300 pounds on these frames with these type of movements. When you look at NBA players, they're long and lean. You even saw LeBron James lean down a little bit because he was worried about the pressure on his joints on this everyday on this type of impact on your body. So I think the NFL players, their bodies are just getting a raw deal with the type of a game that they're trying to play. I mean, when you're trying to get bigger, stronger, faster than the next guy, training is more advanced now. It's all about putting more muscle on a more explosive body. And I think the NFL has just reached the limit.
I tend to agree. So I actually had 2 other questions for you guys now that I think about it. First off, this is kind of for you, Gerrad. Russell Okung, back or not back with the Broncos next year?
Oh man, he really started to kill us. He really started to kill us with the penalties, his lack of footwork. If we can't find where we're getting him at a pretty good deal, I think next year.
Well, it goes up significantly. Next year.
That's right. This year we got him as cheap weight. Okay, yeah, you're right. No, I think he's gone. I think we try and bring somebody else in, because he just started in the beginning of the year. He played really well, but he petered out at about week 6, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I think he's gone.
A full healthy season though, right? He didn't miss any games, did he?
No, he didn't miss any games, but he cost us a lot. He may have cost us a game or 2. So.
Yeah, what I like about Okung is that he's played the position. I think he's an upgrade over, say, like a basketball player like George Fant playing left tackle. I like that idea. Yeah.
If there's any other teams out there that have basketball players playing left tackle, they should seriously look at a guy like Russell Okung next year.
Yeah. I would take him back. I would. In all the false start penalties.
Yeah, I think with his play this year, being representing himself, I think he cost himself a lot of money.
He bet on himself, and it didn't quite pan out.
He still got a pretty good check this year. By playing all of his games, he hit a lot of the bonus levels in that contract. I think it's going to be an $8 million a year deal for him, and I think that seems about right for Russell Okung.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and he gets to go all Darrelle Revis and go mercenary again next year and see if he can't pull down another 10, 12, and guaranteed. Yeah. So I don't know. Good for him. All right, last question for you guys. Name me one team in football that's playing championship level football.
Patriots.
And we're sure about that?
Yeah.
I don't think they're the Patriots.
They're the easy favorite
that would dominate, but I think they're playing better than anybody else.
I tend to agree they're probably playing the best, but I just, that defense is so suspect. I mean, I don't look at one team in football this year and go, that's a championship team. And a lot of times we have 2 or 3 where we're like, yeah, it could be any one of those three. That would be pretty amazing.
The Patriots defense is suspect. They're the leading. They've allowed fewer points than any other team this year.
They have.
Yeah, look at their opponents.
Yeah, man. The eyeball test does not say they're that good, though. I mean, I've watched them play a lot of games, and I don't think their defense is that good. But Adam, I think you're right. I mean,
it's good enough.
I don't even look at this Dallas team that has this incredible record. I'm like, yeah, they're unbeatable because they're highly beatable. We saw this in the last 5 weeks of the season. They easily, if other teams would have just played a little bit more mistake-free football, they could have beat them. They could have won. They could have lost 3 more games. Dallas could have. So I think you're right. I don't see any of these teams as total championship caliber teams except for the Giants because they got Eli Manning right now.
It's so setting up for a random Eli year, man. This is so weird.
Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's happened before. I think
greatest Manning ever.
Twice.
So I want to see that only just so that Eli Manning can just hold up 3 fingers at the Thanksgiving dinner table to Peyton.
Oh, yeah, I beat Tom Brady with all 3 of these.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever, so everybody says. Yeah, I beat him 3 times.
In the biggest game.
Yeah. Hey, could you pass the potatoes, Peyton?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see that.
Yep.
MVP this year. Who you guys got? Who you got for MVP?
Oh, man.
Again,
I'm not picking a Cowboy. I'm not picking a Cowboy because I don't think either of those 2 rookies deserve it, really. I'm picking Tom Brady. I have to.
I'll go Matt Ryan if he gets this win.
I'm sorry. He's not an MVP player. He's had a nice year, but I mean, I don't see him as an MVP.
He's had a nice enough year for MVP.
To be in the discussion, sure. I don't know. Tom Brady does more with less, and at 49 years old, comes back and just torches the league. Like, yeah, it's Tom Brady. He's the greatest.
A few weeks back, I would have said Ezekiel Elliott, but not allowing him to play enough this last game or in Week 16 to get that rookie rushing record. I don't know if he'll have enough to get it.
I have a hard time voting for a rookie for him.
Yeah, I do too. Especially a rookie behind that kind of an offensive line in Dallas.
Nope. Yeah, he's good though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think Todd Gurley would put up the exact same numbers behind that line.
I think a lot of people would put up those numbers behind that line.
Ezekiel Elliott is not Todd Gurley. Your running back evaluation skills, Adam, are not good.
As Elliott. I do.
You'll come around on Elliott the same way you came around on David Johnson. Watch it.
I like Elliott. I'm not banging on him. I mean, this is the same argument I had about Emmitt Smith way back in the day. Like, I like Emmitt Smith fine. He's a good back. He just happens to play behind an amazing offensive line. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. I have a hard time watching a running back do that and be like, oh yeah, that guy's an elite level.
Okay,
talent.
then would you give the MVP to a guy like David Johnson then, who's had an amazing year behind a really, really bad offensive line for the Cardinals?
I would warm up to that way before I warmed up to Ezekiel Elliott.
I think I would too. But I mean, what happens in Dallas if you put a guy like Darren Sproles behind that offensive line of running back?
Oh, Hall of Famer Darren Sproles, you guys?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a career year. That's a historic year if you put him behind that. I think there's a lot of guys who are better than Ezekiel Elliott.
Elliott's better than Sproles.
Well, I think you could put Ryan Matthews behind that line and have equivalent production.
What about LaShawn McCoy behind that line? I mean, come on. Give me a break. Put Thomas Rawls behind that line.
He breaks the single season.
I think Rawls is better than...
He breaks the single season.
Better than Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah. If he's healthy.
I don't think so.
You're...
Well, that's a big if.
Yeah, it is. But look, I don't know. I mean, I think Elliott's a fine player and he has a good vision. I mean, he's a good running back. He's a good running back. But I mean, Fat Rob for the Redskins could put up numbers like that behind that line, man.
It's a good line, but I think Ezekiel Elliott behind that line is they get more out of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe not.
I mean, they made DeMarco Murray look real good 2 years ago.
Well, he's looking really good back in Tennessee when he's behind a real offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. He plays behind good people and then he looks good.
I think a running back gets to the NFL, you're going to be all within the same percentile of everybody else. Pretty much. There are a few guys who are still above everyone else, like Marshawn Lynch was, like Adrian Peterson was. I don't see Ezekiel Elliott as being one of those guys who are above everybody else. I think he's just right in line with all of the other guys. He's not an elite guy like the 2 players I just mentioned. He's just that same guy, but I think you could put a million other running backs in there and they'd be just fine.
I think that's an exact, perfect, spot-on assessment. That's exactly what I was trying to say, but you did it way better.
So I do have one question for you guys. Who's the best head coach available next season, and where's the best head coaching job?
All right. Well, let's think about the jobs available to start with, right? So
Rams, Bills,
what are we looking at here?
Jacksonville.
Okay. Anywhere else where we think that maybe Denver?
Yeah, maybe Denver.
Okay. You think that San Francisco will be available?
God, I don't know. Maybe Indianapolis.
I mean, that's a possibility. Maybe. Yeah. So Indy possibly. Who else was a giant disappointment this year? I think New Orleans could be.
Well, there's talk of Sean Payton going to the Rams.
Well, so I guess with to answer your question, I think Sean Payton's the best coach.
He's not available.
I do
necessarily.
Yes, he is.
You think?
Yeah,
I think he's ready to move on too.
Yep. I think that Drew Brees, Sean Payton combo has accomplished everything that they can accomplish. I really do. And it's time to start turning over a new leaf here. And yeah, I think Sean Payton, I could see Sean Payton.
Yeah, I could too, actually, to be honest with you. If Kubiak's gone, I think Sean Payton takes a place where there's some talent there still, where they maybe just need some creativity on offense.
Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. Like, he's not a defensive guy. You still got Wade Phillips on that side of the ball. You bring in Sean Payton to, ignite the offense and maybe soup up the jizz a little bit. Like,
or Sean Payton brings Tony Romo to town, which is
or he brings Drew Brees to town.
No,
well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Green Bay, because if they lose that game to the Lions, Mike McCarthy could be a coach that's available, and that would look pretty good for a Denver job or maybe an LA job for McCarthy. I could see that happening.
Dude, McCarthy's not a good coach.
He's better than most.
Who?
I'd actually really like McCarthy as an offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. Do they make that hapen?
No,
I don't want Mike McCarthy as the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks.
He'd be an upgrade.
That dude's got less creativity than I have more creativity in my pinky than Mike McCarthy. Like, that guy.
If he could just focus on calling plays, I think he'd be okay.
No, he's been focused on calling plays forever. Then he gives it up for a little while, and then he's like, "Oh, that doesn't work." And then he takes it back over, and it's like, "Oh, that doesn't work." And and they just rely on Aaron Rodgers running around and being awesome. Like that. That's their offense. Like that. He looks at that giant play call sheet and just goes, "Let's go with Aaron. Be awesome." On two.
So, Adam, you had mentioned maybe Josh McDaniels going to the Jaguars, maybe Coughlin not going to the Jaguars. So, when you think about this Los Angeles job, I think if you move the team to LA, you're wanting to make a splash, maybe bring in a brand new head coach like a Josh McDaniels. Do you see the Jaguars after hiring Gus Bradley as a first-year head coach? Do you think they want to do another first-year thing, or do they go with one of these coaches that is actually a veteran?
I have no idea what Khan thinks. I really don't. He's an interesting owner. I mean, he really is. To me, I think that the idea of McDaniels in LA is stupid. I've talked about this a couple times. I think Coughlin in LA is the exact right fit. I think that's a match made in heaven. I mean, a guy who's developed a number 1 draft pick at quarterback before, a guy who's been in a big media market, a guy with rings and some cachet, a guy that brings some discipline back to the team. I think Tom Coughlin would be an amazing hire in LA. I think McDaniels needs to go to Indy because he needs to be paired with. He needs to be paired with a big time quarterback, and if he gets paired up with Andrew Luck, that'd be good. Or McDaniels ends up in freaking Green Bay, that would be a nightmare. Like to go from Tom Brady to Aaron Rodgers, you bet, man. So a
lot up in the air this offseason. It'll be interesting to see who lands where.
Yeah, I think you see the Jags pluck another dude that was similar to Gus Bradley off of a team somewhere. Whatever the new hot coaching game will end up being. All right. Well, with Brandon taking a knee, I think there's only 2 things left to say, and that's hooray football. And hooray beer.
Go Broncos.
Playoffs.
Next year.
In the playoffs.
Not playoffs.
Good luck next year, Gerrad.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/picksandIPAs.